from Papercrafts. Welcome back to my channel. This is a 12 by 12 process video, and this one's for Lottie Loves Paper, so it does count as an advertisement. I'm using my Pink Paislee Truly Grateful collection finally. I've been hoarding it. It's been hiding in my drawer. I did a video a few days ago. It was a blue one. And this is a very, very pink one. And I kind of wanted to show that although these papers are very pink, and the leaves are pinky purples and things, it doesn't matter. I mean, I only really scrap my little boy Elliot, and this is a picture of him, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother him that I'm using pink, so I think it shouldn't bother anybody else. So yeah, don't be put off by colours for boy layouts, absolutely not. So what I've done, you'll see there just on the side of my mat, is I have fussy cut loads and loads and loads of the leaves from one of the papers, from the back of this stripy paper, and there's another one as well that's just covered in leaves. And I've watched a few films actually while I've done this, because it took me absolutely ages. I think I fussy cut 2 whole sheets, and I've now just got piles and piles of leaves and things that I can use to create layouts with. I didn't want to sort of start making a layout and then have to sit there and fussy cut them, so I did it all first, got it all out of the way, so it's all done, and I've got loads and loads. So what I've done, as you've seen, is taken a strip of that stripy paper and placed it down the left hand side, and then I have matched up as best I can leaves of the same colour to run down and cover up where the stripy bit ends and my white paper begins. I'm just gluing these in place now. I do find I need a few extra by the time I get to the bottom, because I think I put them closer together when I'm sticking them down than I did when I was just playing with them, and I realised about here that I need another one. So I faff about a bit and move them around. I've also torn some of my white paper and put some more of the stripes just poking out from the back of behind a torn piece, just at that right hand side, and I stuck the whole strip on the back to start with, so that I got the lines in the same place as at the other side, just so that it matched up. And then I decided I was going to tuck a couple of leaves into that as well. And then as I'm looking at my layout, I did decide that my photograph just felt a little bit too big, and luckily it was the right sort of size that I could just chop it down a little bit. And then I was really happy with it. I decided to put a little bit more of that stripy paper in there, just to kind of marry all the sides of the layout together. And then I decided just to mat that photograph on a piece of white, so that everything that I'm going to tuck behind it pops. I did contemplate using that leafy paper as another backing, but it just felt too busy, and I decided not to. So then I'm going to start going through what I've got in here in terms of ephemera. I loved that word grateful. I've been trying to use it for ages and I've not managed it, but I now have, since doing this layout, I've now got an idea in my mind of what I'm going to do with it. So watch this space for that one. And then I'm just going to basically spend quite a lot of time now playing with the ephemera and trying to decide which kind of colour road I want to go down, and in the end I do decide to stick to the pinky, orangey, peachy colours that I've got in those leaves and on that paper, just to keep everything matching. Although I do also pop some purples in there as well, because the purples just give a darker tone to it, and the photograph, as you can see, is quite dark. This is a really special photograph actually. I've got this photograph many times as my son has grown up. I've got him with me stood there holding him, and then him as a younger child, and then him there. I think he was 6 in this photograph. And the figure to the right hand side is actually a statue, and it's up in Scotland, near where we have relatives, and in a place called Monreath. And there is this statue, and he's leaning on like a wooden, it's not a bench, it's like a frame that he's leaning on and looking out to sea. And then at the other side of him there's a plaque on the floor that says, what if this life, we have no care, we have no time to stand and stop and stare. Apologies if I've got that quote slightly wrong, but that's there as well. And I just love the photograph, and it just happened to be the most beautiful sunset, so yeah, captured that moment. So I'm just now spending some time tucking lots of different leaves and ephemera and bits and pieces behind my photograph. I've used that wreath there that was one of the pieces of ephemera, and I've actually cut it down. Did make a bit of a mistake with it. I cut it too small, and then when I tried to tuck it behind the photograph at the corner, it didn't work. So I've ended up sticking some leaves on top of it, but I actually really like it because it's kind of given it a more 3D effect. And now I'm just going to start sort of adhering everything down. There it is, look, you can see it doesn't quite work. So I pop a little leaf at either end, some extra little bits and pieces. I've got a leaf trio at the right hand corner. And then I found those flowers as well that I just thought looked perfect in terms of colour. And that word hello is actually what my son walked up to the statue and said hello, because there was the first or second time he saw it, he did actually think it was a person. So and the colours fit perfectly with that, so it had to go in there, and it was picture perfect, which is why I decided to put that little banner on there. So just using lots and lots of foam sticky pads, which are a pain to get the back of, but do work really well, and then glue where it's going to overlap the photo, because the photo's already got some foam on the back. And then just going to pop that picture perfect down as well. That's just going to be stuck straight down onto the paper. And then the flowers, I think I stick a couple of them down, and then I put some foam dots, yes I do, on the top of on the back of the top one to make that one pop up a little bit. And so far really happy with that. And then I just feel like it could do a little bit of something else, so I found a little purple star. I'm going to tuck an extra couple of leaves in behind that little "You Are Loved" piece of ephemera. So I'm just going to stick a couple of extra leaves down there. It felt like it needed another one, a slightly darker one. And then one of the last things I do here is take some gold metallic thread, kind of wind it up around my fingers and tuck it in at, I think I do 3 little lots of it. It just adds a lovely kind of shimmery softness to the layout, and an extra bit of texture, which I love. And I just tuck it in, and then I just add a little bit of glue just to make sure it stays in the right place, and use my tweezers there just to tuck extra little bits in that I don't want sticking out. And then I just go through my ephemera just one last time, see if there's anything else I want to add, and that's about it for my layout. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it inspires you to use pinks maybe where pinks wouldn't normally go. Yeah, pop over to the Lottie Loves Paper shop. There is a sale on, I believe, at the moment, and there's some final bits in the sale. And then keep an eye out, because there's lots and lots of new beautiful collections on the way, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.